Hi, welcome to News at Mother Brown. I'm Rio, and today I've been joined by Mark Phillips, who's been an integral part of West Ham coaching set up at youth level for, I think, was it Mark, since 2007?
That's right. Yeah, January 2007. What's it? 18 years, just over 18 years. Yeah.
Yep. So in that time, obviously, we've undergone a few changes all throughout the club. I'm hoping Mark's going to give us a little bit of an insight into his role, insight into maybe a little bit about the future, and just give us a little bit of his West Ham journey. So again, welcome, Mark, and thank you very much.
No problem. Place to be here.
Can you just give us a little bit of an insight into what's going on at the moment? Because I think your role changed last summer, didn't it?
Summer before, actually, the summer after we just won the Youth Cup. I can't say I'll be honest with you, I was delighted at the time. I wasn't delighted. I loved my role. It was the best job in the world, and I wish I still had that job. But I suppose I'm getting old, and the club looked upon it as looking after me. So I suppose in some way they did. I'd still, even at this age, rather be out on the grass coaching. But my role now is pathways and development manager. So I sort of oversee players playing up an age group, go and see them when they play internationally, stuff like that. I still do get asked my opinion on players and players we might be looking to bring into the club at youth level and stuff like that.
Excellent. So I know it's a bit of a change for you, and you'd much rather be out there, but I think you did enough time, didn't you? Was it, like I said, been a few years since you've joined the club? You was at that
That's one way of looking at it, and I suppose I did do enough time. As I say, I alluded to it earlier. I wish I was still doing some more time because that's what I really enjoy. I'm 63 years of age now. Maybe somewhere thought I was a bit old. I don't know. That's never been said to me. But I'm still reasonably fit. I'm running an half marathon next month, so I'd like to think so. Or reasonably fat, one of the two. I'm not sure which. But that's the way it is.
Just going to ask a little bit of an insight into what goes on behind the scenes there. Obviously, we've had a few changes of manager, particularly this year. Now, what happens? Does the manager dictate what he wants at youth level? Or does he just kind of leave it to you lot to get on with, and he just asks for a particular kind of players?
Well, I've been there under Pardew, Curbs, obviously Moyes, Allardyce, Pellegrini, Slav, loads, the majority of them don't really get involved. Not because I've done bits with the 21s, but I'm more 18s and below. They don't really get involved in it. Graham Potter seems to have more of an interest, if I'm honest, than all the others have. And that's just not saying it because he's there now. I think he has got an interest in the academy. If you look at Ollie Scholes and, Lewis Alford and Calum Casey being involved, which is nice. Before I was at West Ham, I'm obviously I'm going to name drop you now, Steve Potts, because they always says that John Lyall would watch the youth team before he went to a game at Upton Park. They'd play in the morning at Chadwell Heath. John Lyall would watch the first half, and then they go to Upton Park. And I think you can't have that better in the club than the first team manager knowing the youth team players. And I think John Lyall gave Alex Ferguson lots of advice when he first went to Man United. And I think he carried in that sort of vein of Manchester United. He didn't do too bad, Alex Ferguson, did he?
He was all right, I suppose.
He was all right. Not as good as John Lyall, but he done all right.
Exactly. But you can't have everything in life, can you?
No.
So with your role before you moved to this particular section, what did you find the biggest challenges? Because obviously the way that the world operates now has vastly changed in terms of social media, just the way that youngsters act now. Did you find any really major big challenges with the way that the young players kind of approach their game and the concentration levels? Were they distracted by outside stuff a bit too much?
I never really found it that. They're always interested in, especially now, social media. And, it was only 2 years ago. I was the coach sort of thing. Yeah. You can't really sort of educate players and youngsters on the way to behave away from the football club. You can help them, and we're always trying to turn out decent human beings as well as decent footballers. So there is that. I'm going to say this, the group we had that won the Youth Cup 2 years ago was exceptionally on the pitch and exceptional off the pitch. And I think it started the year before, funny enough, when we had a couple of players, most people at West Ham wouldn't even know them, Michael Forbes and Archie Woods, who set the standards for the youth team that come along after and win the Youth Cup, and those standards continued. So I think, it does have a knock-on effect.
Yeah. Would you say that's your proudest moment at the club since you've been involved with the coaching, the actual Youth Cup win? And
Nothing,
like you said, not only
nothing
the
comes
players.
anywhere near it as my proudest moment in any career I've ever done. I've got all sorts of qualifications in football, and I'm a licensed London taxi driver. Winning the Youth Cup away at Arsenal with 9,000 fans in that end, most of them with family and friends. It was the best night ever. It was an unbelievable night. Unbelievable.
Yeah, but like you said, also the fact that the kids that you brought through were actually decent human beings and seemed a really good bunch, it must make you doubly proud as well.
Yeah. I mean, I was slightly disappointed towards the start of this season when I'm not seeing any of them come through, because the previous manager, Lopetegui, I've probably said his name wrong there. I normally do, because he wasn't just giving any of our players a look in at all. They weren't on the bench. They wasn't doing anything. So you don't win the Youth Cup by having bad players. So I couldn't make it out. Well, they wasn't involved somewhere on the line, even as just to put them on the bench would have helped him, because the fans would have given him a little bit. They could come on and make mistakes. We love our homegrown players at West Ham. You know what I mean? Someone should have educated the ex-manager to that effect, in my eyes.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that as well. I mean, does the weight of expectations, because like I say, we always love a homegrown player. We always want him to strive to do well, break into the first team, become legends. Does that expectation weigh a little bit heavy at times, trying to get that through?
What, on us or on the player? What do you mean?
A bit of both, really.
I mean, listen, I've been going West Ham since 1970, and I'm steeped in West Ham. Everything about me is West Ham, my family, everything. I mean, there's nothing better than seeing homegrown players. Let's be fair, I've seen loads, and before I worked for the club, it was always better. I mean, I see I'm going to mention his name again. I see Potsy come through, and Kevin Keane, and people who are now my pals, sort of thing. And there is nothing better than seeing, I'm not just saying this, and I always do think West Ham supporters are the best in the world. It always makes me laugh when you get people at Arsenal and Chelsea and all that. We haven't won the league. We've never won the league. Don't worry about that. We've never won the league, and we're always behind our team. And an homegrown player at West Ham really does feel a part of it. We have the best, and I thought that. I've always thought it for years, and I thought it in Prague. The way our support was out in Prague, unbelievable.
Yeah, you've mentioned the name a couple of times already, and it's been a bit of a running joke since I've been part of the forum. Is that I'm Steve Potts' greatest ever fan. So I'm happy to hear the references to him. You can do that all day long, mate. Absolutely, you can do that all day long.
Well, it's quite ironic. I mean, at the club, I worked with him as an under-18s coach for, 6-7 years. He's probably, not probably, he is. He's my best pal at the club. I get on really well with him. Our families get on well. And what you see with Steve Potts is what you get. He's such he's so unassuming. He plays his career down. I mean, I've been out with him before, like on a Christmas do up the city and that, and bumping out. Steve Potts, Steve. He just sort of plays it down and laughs, takes no notice of it. You know what I mean? Sort of thing. Yeah. But I forget sometimes because he's my mate. What a legend at West Ham. Before I knew him, obviously not Steve, but now he's one of my pals. It's a bit weird, really.
Yeah, I'm deeply jealous because, of all the players that I did this thing. I think you might have done it yourself with the Hammers Network, where Russ does his My Time 11.
Yeah, naming the team.
Yeah, I did that, and I've made it a point to try and get a photo done with every one of my favourite 11. I've got 2 remaining. One of them's Potsy. The other one I'm never going to get which is Paye, but. It's on my bucket list. Let's put it that way.
But where do you live?
Dagenham.
All right. Well, occasionally, I'm not going to name it on here. Me and Steve might have the odd glass of light out somewhere. One time we're going there. Maybe you can come along. I'll say what it is, and you can meet him.
Lovely, thanks, mate. Okay, that is blowing me away already.
I haven't asked Potsy yet, maybe you're right.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard every person I've come across who bumped into him, from players to fans, have always spoke so highly about him.
He's an absolute genuine geezer. He's just not one of us. He's just a West Ham fella, you know what I mean?
Just to ask a couple of other things, really, it's mainly about the youth set. I mean, obviously, Ollie Scholes has broken through this season a bit more. and he's looking really composed. I think he's actually taken the first team football a lot better than other people would have done. A lot of people would have expected, because he still looks quite slight and quite young, but he looks a natural. Is there any kind of prospects coming through that you think, would be the next one on the agenda, so to speak?
It's hard to pick people. I mean, if you think of all the players we've got out on loan, just take them for instance. We've got Steve Potts' boy Freddie Potts for a start, who's doing well in the Championship. We've got George Urphy, not getting enough game time at Bristol City, but doing well when he does. We've got Callum Marshall playing week in, week out. We've got Calum Casey, who trains with the first team. Got Lewis Alford. We've got a number of players, and you don't know exactly. I don't know exactly how well they're going to do until they're given the chance. Until they're going to, they train with the first team. There's a clue, and then they're given a chance actually on the pitch. I mean, when they do, I'm obviously really, really nervous. It's like I'm clear, but you don't know exactly how they're going to be. You think you know, but you don't know exactly until they take to it.
Yep, cool. There's a couple of other things I want to touch upon. Again, going back to the Youth Cup win, do you think in this day and age, given the constraints put on our recruitment of players by the Premier League academy system, stuff like that, you can only get recruit within a certain circumference, and given that we've got all this competition in the London area, do you think that's even bigger an achievement than anyone's been ever been given credit for?
Obviously, personally, I'm going to say yes because I'm involved in it. But I think the thing that doesn't get really highlighted, and I suppose why would it, is that players have moved clubs when they're 14 and 15 years of age, instigated by agents. Right? The Premier League laws are you're not allowed to have an agent till you're 16. So just work that out. So obviously big clubs can come and run. Well, they have done, and run roughshod over clubs like us and that. And it's just strictly about money, and it's against the laws of the league, but it just goes on, they turn a blind eye. But what you have to do, you have to set a really good environment, really make sure the boys want to come in every day. There's competition for places. They enjoy the training. I mean, I've mentioned Potsy a lot. I know I've got to say what a wonderful coach Kevin Keane is, and Gerard Prendeville. The three of us was all instrumental in winning the Youth Cup, and the players had a little bit to do with it as well, I must admit. But what I'm saying is, you've got to make it the right environment for the players, and everyone gets on well, and they play. I mean, the team spirit that Youth Cup team had was the best in all the years I've been doing it. The youth setup, so that might have played a part, obviously.
Yeah, there's one thing that I think that a lot of fans don't appreciate as well is that we're all gutted when one of our prospects leaves and joins different clubs for one reason or the other. But I think it's testament to yourself and the rest of the coaching staff that a lot of our boys make good livings, be it further down the league ladder, but they still make really good livings as decent pros, and they're only talked about in big circles. So I think that's really good testament to you. And like you said, you're making not only good players, but good individuals.
Yeah, I mean, and this is not me giving it a big one about myself. I suppose it's going to sound that a little bit, but I do, and everyone at the club will tell you this, I keep in contact with all those players. I mean, I'm friendly with Josh Cullen and his family. I went to his wedding in Italy this year. Cole Noyle, all the players down the levels who've left us, Jade Mingy, Jaden Ferrier, I still talk to all of them. I'm still pals with all players who've gone through and made a career. And I think that's, we're not going to be all glitzy. We're not going to be all shiny at West Ham. You will earn a few quid, but you won't earn the big money that you're going to earn at Man City and Chelsea. So you've got to have that that London family club feel about it. And I think I like to think that's where I do play a part with it.
That's great to hear, mate. Absolutely great to hear. Just going to touch on a couple of things, then we've got a little bit of a question thing, if you don't mind answering it afterwards.
That's all right.
The first thing is, you've taken on another role at the club recently, haven't you? You've been doing the match commentary. How are you finding that?
I enjoy it, actually. I mean, everyone says I'm all right. I mean, I just talk. Listen, for the last 50 years, all I've ever talked is nonsense and mainly about West Ham. That's all I do on the commentary. I mean, I'd like to think I've got quite a large knowledge on the players that are playing. I know the systems and how they're doing. No, I'll quite enjoy it, and until they give me the hook, I'll keep doing it. So yeah, no, he's he's a bit of a laugh. The funny thing is, I'm more well known now from my summarising commentary than I am for coaching, which is a bit worrying. But no, I quite enjoy it. Give the wife and the family a bit of a mention, so they're getting famous as well.
Yeah, I've got to say, well, when we've watched it ourselves, we've really enjoyed it. So yeah, man, fair play to you, mate. You're doing that really good job on that one. The other thing I was going to touch about, you mentioned it earlier. I mean, you're about to run the half marathon soon. But last year you did 3 Peaks Challenge with Neil Taylor, who does an amazing job for Hammers for Work and Support. How was that challenge?
Much tougher than I thought. We trained hard, but the actual 3 days of doing it, when you get up the last day and you know you've got another mountain to do, it was an absolute. I mean, Neil's, I'm going to say it, he's 2 years older than me. So Neil's 65, I'm 63. Everyone else was younger, but it was Hammers for Work. We raised £26,500. Jimmy Walker done it with us as well.
Yeah,
and it was all West Ham on it. It was a great 3 days. I would never do it again, but it was fantastic.
Excellent. Right, you're just going to ask you a few questions, mate. It's 10 questions, and it's a thing we're going to try and hope to carry on in the future called 10 Claret and Blue questions. The first one of which is why West Ham? I mean, judging by the accent and judging by what I know of you, I can answer that one myself. But yeah,
why am I West Ham? Why am I West Ham?
Yeah.
My dad was a QPR fan, and I actually lived in Woolwich in South East London. I didn't live in North Woolwich. I lived in Woolwich SE18. My mum was born in the London hospital, and she always used to say I should be West Ham. And someone took me there. Bobby Moore testimonial in 1970 for Celtic, and I stayed West Ham. In fact, only 5 years later, we won the FA Cup. I thought it was going to be like years of glory. It never really worked out like that. But that's why we're so special, because we ain't got years of glory. And when we do have a bit of success, it means so much to us. Yeah. And as I say, we are the best fans in the world, and that's not being biased.
No, I'll completely agree with you. So what was your first West Ham memory? I presume the testimonial?
Obviously, the Bobby Moore testimonial.
Yeah.
I can remember. You can remember mad things. Obviously, I used to get a 101 bus to East Ham Town Hall, walk down the Barking Road, and it was just like, I don't know, just the halls of people and things like that. I obviously remember in '75. I mean, if you're old enough, you remember it. The Man United, after we won the cup, Man United at home, we beat them 2-1 with Alan Taylor, and that was a famous day for loads and loads of reasons. Obviously, things like that I can remember.
Yeah. Okay, so next one is, what was your best West Ham moment?
That's a difficult one, because obviously the youth cup for me personally is massive, but winning the cup in 75 and 80, probably winning the cup in 80, because we was like, a Div 2 side. We weren't fancy to win, and it was just like, we ruled London sort of thing, and it was fantastic. I was the right age. I could go out drinking then. I spent the whole weekend out. Probably the 80 Cup final was the best.
Cool. Next question is, what is the best West Ham goal you've ever seen live?
Oh, obviously people will be thinking of Di Canio's goal against Wimbledon. I do remember, I can't remember who it was against. It was Upton Park. Stuart Slater scored a goal. I think Eamon Dolan headed it on. It was a cup game. It might have been against Everton.
I think it was 5-0 home league game against Sunderland, if I remember rightly.
Oh, was it? I thought it was this game was definitely a night game. I think it was. Was it that game? Stuart Slater scored an unbelievable game at that end. Another geezer who I know reasonably well now as well, without name dropping.
I know. The one you might have been referring to, and might have jumped in there, so I do apologise. Is Slater won in the FA Cup quarter final against Everton?
I think it is that. I think it was that. I think Eamon Dolan headed it on. He just chested it down, and before it hit the floor, he hit it on the volley. Fantastic goal. Fantastic goal. But I mean, other goals, that have more importance. Jazz's goal out in Park was massive. Yeah. Trevor's goal in 1980. Goals like that mean more. Do you remember that? You're probably not as old as me, but in Trevor Brookins, when he curled against Eintracht Frankfurt, when he just cut in and curled it in the other corner. That's a fantastic goal as well. But we've scored many fantastic goals, and we've unfortunately let a few in as well.
Yeah, that's the problem. That is the problem. Yeah, next one is, if you could have a pint with any West Ham player, either alive or sadly passed, who would it be and why?
Well, my favourite ever player of all time was Trevor Brooking, and without name dropping a lot, I've met Trevor on numerous occasions. So the person I've never met, never spoke to him, would be Bobby Moore. I suppose I'd like to have a pint with Bobby Moore and have a chat about him about defensive play and out of time to tackle.
Next one is, what's been the biggest ever disappointment you've had supporting us?
Biggest ever I think probably Oldham away in the League Cup semi-final when we lost 6-0 on their plastic pitch in an horrible rainy night. Because, I mean, that is the thing that kills us with us, is the hope. You think, we're going to get in a final. Because we deserve more finals than we've had. Our fans definitely deserve more finals. And that night, I think I used to run a few coaches to away games back in them days. I run 2 or 3 coaches, had all the aggravation of that. We've lost 6-0. I remember sitting on the coach on the way home, dripping wet, thinking, this ain't the best. But there you go.
Next one is, what makes you proud to be a West Ham fan?
Everything. I'm so proud of West Ham. It's ridiculous. I mean, the other day, again, name dropping, I had to go. I work at Chadwell Heath, but I had to go to Rush Green to see Mark Noble for a bit of lunch, and sitting there, just me and Mark, and all the new first team staff come in. Mr. West Ham, as they call him, was saying to the first team staff, they didn't know I was from Barlow Soap. They were saying, Mark was going, this geezer, he's a West Ham legend, he's a legend and all that. So Mark Noble saying about me being a legend, I mean, how proud can that make me feel, you know what I mean, sort of stuff like that. But I'm proud of us, and if I'm in amongst like Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea fans who have won the league loads, you know, they won't talk me down. I'm more proud of West Ham than they are of their own team, because, you know, we are the top club, and that's it.
Okay, number 9 is, what is your one wish for the club?
One wish for the club? Well, my main wish is that we play football in the correct way, in the correct style. And that is why, you know, I was brought up, you know, watching us in the 70s and 80s, and that's what we was about. We used to play some fantastic football, and we was known for it. I want us to get back to that. I don't think we're ever going to be the sort of league champions. That's not really our game. We're not sort of maybe consistent enough, and maybe, you know, you have to spend so much money, and I can never see that being us. I want us to really entertain and just give us a few cups, give us a few cup finals for the fans. I mean, a lot of people say it, like owners of the club, players of the club, coaches at the club come and go. The fans don't. They're always there. So the fans deserve a lot back. The fans don't go anywhere. They're there. And if they do leave West Ham, there's something wrong with you. So, yeah.
And last question is, I know you've answered this elsewhere, but just remind me, Dan, your favourite West Ham 11.
Oh, I wasn't expecting you to ask that. Well, the keeper's a really hard one, because, like, I thought Phil Parkes was fantastic for us, you know what I mean? He was brilliant. But again, name dropping. I've personally got to know Ludo really well. He's an absolute top fella. So I'd have to have Ludo in goal. I'd probably Billy Bonds at right back. I've got to have Potsy in the side. He never speak to me again. And then I'm not putting Alvin in the side. That's terrible. So I'd have Potsy, Bobby Moore. Probably everyone would go with Julian Dix, but I used to think Julian used to give the ball away too much, because I was a bit of a purist on the game. So maybe old Frank Lampard at left back, although he's not the most. He's quite a miserable old fella, Frank. But as a person away from the game, I'm going to forget people here. In centre midfield, because there's probably going to be people throwing things at the screen now or whatever, I would have Declan Rice, because I still speak to Dec, and I've actually ventured over to Arsenal once and been in his box against Bayern Munich. And I think Dec was an exceptional player in midfield for us. Cool, yeah. Alan Devonshire and Brooking gets in the side, because they were so good all the years I was going. again, people throwing at the screen. For that one season, I thought Dimitri Payet was unplayable. I mean, if we got a free kick anywhere in their half, it was like a penalty. You know he's hitting the target and we're probably scoring. I mean, Deck and Payet are not the most popular players at West Ham, but those times they were playing us, they was exceptional.
Yeah.
And probably up front, again, that year, the first year, McAvenny was brilliant. I thought McAvenny was brilliant. And then maybe just for his entertainment and lunacy, maybe Barlow. Have I picked 12 players in?
No, I think that's it, mate. That's 11. You've done right there.
If it was 12, I might win a lot of games with 12. We got a bit of everything in there. We've got a bit of everything in there.
Yeah, it's not far away from what I picked either.
Oh, I'm good.
Right,
I
Mark,
wasn't expecting it either. I wish you'd be prepared me for that. I'd have been all day. I'd have been all day going. I'd have overthought it, definitely. You know what I mean?
That's why we try to surprise people.
Yeah, done me with that one, definitely.
Right, Mark, thank you very much for your time. Much appreciated for taking time out of your busy schedule. And thank you very much for all you've done at the club in terms of bringing through the youth talent and just making everyone proud.
Well, just someone like West Ham, like you saying that to me, means that you wouldn't believe how much that means to me. Just you saying that, honestly. So that means I've done one little thing for the club. I'm happy with that. I've done a few other things that I won't mention on here, but just I've done that. It means a real lot to me. Really does.
No worries, mate.
Cheers.
More than welcome. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Cheers. All the best.
Cheers, mate.